Welcome to Whiskey Thursday.
Yeah, we're live. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Whiskey Thursday. Shane cannot figure out how to wear a hat tonight. So
this good. No, let's do this. Can everybody take us seriously tonight?
oh man, I feel like I gotta have a hat somewhere. Doggone it, I dropped it. I say
This is the new look, Matt. Come on, get with it.
Oh my god. Wait, I gotta put my hat too, but I think everybody's gonna hate that. It's a Patriots hat.
Patriots. Might not go over well with everybody.
Whiskey Thursday hat edition tonight.
We're old hunting fella style, where it's just kind of slightly sitting on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? The old fella style, where it's like you just got it down there, or you got like the baseball pitcher style, where you're like this.
That's hilarious.
Oh man. Anyways, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Whiskey Thursday, where we do our best to get our guests drunk so they will spill their secrets and not their whiskey. Anyways.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure. Hey, and if you're watching live, #live, right?
If you're watching live, #live. If you're watching the replay, #replay.
If you're checking us out from YouTube, make sure to come check us out live Thursday at 8 p.m. Every Thursday, 8 p.m. We're always live here in the Real Estate Marketing Conversion Mastery Facebook group. All you got to do is go to Facebook and hit that search button and look up REMCM, and you will find us. Come join the group and come check us out live every Thursday, 8 p.m. And
except for like Thanksgiving, and that's it, I think, this year.
Thanksgiving this year, right?
Yeah, Thanksgiving. I think Thanksgiving is, Thanksgiving 2020. I believe that's the 24th, right?
So we're not here?
I don't think we'll be here, right?
No, I don't know. Depends.
Let's double check. Oh, it's Thursday, November 26th. Okay. Yeah. So we won't be there on that one.
All right. Sounds good.
But otherwise,
for Thanksgiving 2020, we won't be there. So anyways, with that, everybody, guys, we have a very, interesting guest here tonight.
We learned a lot about them last week, right? Or 2 weeks ago. I'm sorry.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago. Yash popped on.
And we were like, shut up so we can make this
a
full episode,
let's
dude.
bring you on.
This is awesome.
I wasn't expecting it, to be honest with you.
Well, a quick introduction here for you, Yash. Yash, you run a marketing company called Yash Sampat Marketing, which is
Just
awesome.
my name.
You started in this 6 months ago. Previously to this, we'll get into your story, but you were in software sales. You jumped into the real estate industry just because.
Just because, to be honest.
Like we say, it's the largest low-hanging fruit in the digital marketing space that a lot of people don't know how to work.
So, I didn't even know about that.
Yeah.
I just jumped in.
Yeah, and now 6 months after, you're doing roughly about $15,000 a month in recurring revenue. You've got 20 plus clients. We were talking to you a little earlier. Actually, you're mentioning how you had a really stressful day today because you ended up having to close a bunch of business. I'm not sure how that's stressful, but I always find it exciting when I see the purchase orders or sales orders come through, or the checks or the payments. I mean, those are exciting things. That's what keeps me going. I think that's what most entrepreneurs going is that rush of finally closing a deal. So, Yash, welcome to the show. Thanks so much for coming on tonight and hanging out with us. We're gonna talk a little bit about what you're doing. I think you have a really interesting model, which is slightly different than kind of the typical retainer model. We'll talk a little bit about that, and so with that,
And before we go there, one thing I forgot to mention last week was Happy New Year to all the real estate agents, right? Because as I always say, and as I've always heard, as I was getting into the real estate industry and talking to mentors and whatnot, is October 1st is a real estate agent's new year, because most of what you do from October 1st to December 31st, you're not going to see until at least January. So, Joe Silvell was like, hey, Happy New Year. And I'd forgotten. I normally send that to him every year and a couple other people. I was like, I'm glad he reminded me, but I forgot to mention it last week. So if you're a real estate agent, Happy New Year, happy belated New Year, right?
Well, and that's a really good point too, because I think, there was actually a question that was posted inside of the private group, which was, Should we slow down on reaching out to real estate agents right now? Should we, what about our prospecting?
No, we
You're
should
pitching
not.
2021 right now.
Yeah, like you need to be
Yes.
gearing up for 2021 because like my best months have been February, March. That's when like every
Yeah.
proposal that I had put out from October, November, December started closing in February and February and March. And for anybody out there looking to like, brokers or, people looking to start teams or anything like that, this is when people start shifting, right? This is when real estate agents start collecting their checks. They're going to pay off their taxes, and like come January, that's when they're going to start looking to make changes, right? So that's going to include changes in their teams, changing their brokerages, changing in their marketing. They're going to start looking at their expenses and their cash flow and so on. They're going to start making those decisions come January. We didn't see a whole lot of deals coming through from like November, December. Everything started happening in the new year. So this is when you want to start prospecting. This is
push hard, double down.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
That's what I've learned being in software sales. Like everybody used to slack, and I used to put all my eggs during November, December, and I used to have the fattest deals in January, February, and March. Like Q1, crushing like over 100, 200, $300,000 deals. Like just coming through that.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your background, Yash. You mentioned you were in sales. Whoops, sorry. That's my volume. Distracting.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about your background and where, what you did before sort of the agency thing. And then tell us a little bit about why you kind of jumped into, running an agency and serving the real estate industry.
Yeah. So a little bit about my background. I used to work in software sales for 5 years. And I started off at an e-commerce company, used to sell like website performance software, where it used to make the e-commerce site run faster. We used to sell a snippet of code for like $60,000. Like that would just like go on the website and just make the website run faster. Yeah, like for every second, they probably improve the conversion rate by 3%, and 3% in volumes is a lot of money. So I used to sell that left and right. So that's where I started doing a lot of sales and stuff like that. And then I left that company and went to a bigger organization. So that was a smaller organization, or less than like 50, 60 employees. And then went to a bigger organization around September 2019. And then didn't really work out at that place. They got acquired by some other organization, went really big, and then they couldn't really maintain the culture. It was like you come in at 8 o'clock in the morning and you leave at 8 o'clock at night. Like it just wasn't a good fit, like I didn't really like it.
They couldn't maintain the culture. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, so good question. So what do I mean by that is when culture, like in terms of like, for them, it was like just come in, work for us 24/7, even on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, like whatever that looks like. And then doesn't matter, like you don't matter. Like if you close one deal, you got to go to the next one and you just keep going. I mean, which is a part of sales. But at the same time, there was a lot of stress in terms of like, the only thing that you do all day is just sell software. That's all you do. Like, like that.
I mean, it's one of the things that really helps a business grow, and a lot of agencies don't even think about it early on, right? Because like these big companies, like you said, like the culture wasn't good there, right?
Yeah.
You don't have a productive culture, an enjoyable culture, something that people enjoy being a part of. Like it's going to be really difficult to grow at scale. And I mean, some people still do it, but it was just the first time I've heard somebody mention that on the show, so I had to.
It's kind of funny how like when you're at a smaller software company, the culture is like fantastic, and when you go to like a size of 100, like up after 100, like shit hits the fan. Like if you don't control it properly.
Yeah.
Amazon is another company that has done really well to maintain the culture. Like I have a few friends that work there; they do a really good job like maintaining the culture and stuff like that. But like most companies break down after 100 employees because they can't really maintain the culture and things go haywire at that point.
Yeah.
and nobody likes to work at companies like that. You know, everybody, whenever I used to work at a software company, every sales rep dreams about getting acquired, waiting for that stock to kick in, you know.
Yep.
But everybody forgets that that's not like a 1 year game. That like takes like 10, 15, 20 years. Like, you know, like that's not going to happen like right now. Like CEOs sell the employees a dream, but that dream doesn't happen overnight. Like that's going to take you a while to like get there, you know? So
Right.
it was funny. Like I still have friends that still work there and they still regret it, but they still work there, which I don't really understand. Why the hell do you work there if you regret it? You know, because they don't really have the balls to take the next step. Even if you get fired.
And how did you have the balls to take that next step? Because like you said, like that was a big step. It was a big company.
Yeah.
And you've got a lot of friends there that have not made that step. So what separated that?
So it's kind of funny, right? So I had another buddy of mine who quit like a week before I was supposed to leave. And he's just like, he talked to me on Thursday afternoon, like a week before I quit. And he was like, hey man, like my manager's being a dick. I'm just going to leave. And I'm like, what? Like, you're just going to leave? Like, just like that? He's like, yeah, I'm going to leave. Like, I'm leaving today. I thought he was joking. Like, how can somebody just stand up and be like, oh, I'm just going to leave? You know, like this doesn't really happen every day. And he literally quit that day. And I was like, what the fuck, dude? And then the week, so I had a little bit of convincing to do, tell my wife that I'm going to like leave the job and stuff like that. And my boss was pressuring me anyways.
Yeah. So what was she saying?
She was like, you shouldn't do it. Like, you should just stay put or find another job before you quit. Yeah, I mean, typical, you know, like everybody wants security, safety, which is fine. But I was like, I was done with it, to be honest with you. And the day I was supposed to leave the company, my boss just fired me. So it just like turned out to be like, I guess both of us are in the same direction, you know? So like, so I quit and I was like, oh God, now what am I gonna do? You know?
It's actually, you know, it's kind of interesting because I've been on that end of like letting people go, right? And there was one situation where it's like all day long I was like, it's not a fun job. Letting people go is not a fun job. And I'm sure anybody that's watching or anybody's gonna watch this show that can relate to it, they're gonna be, I've never met anybody that likes to fire people. It's just not part of it. But I remember sitting there all day long and I'm like, oh my God, and just procrastinating, right? And just like, oh, I've got to write this thing here, or, oh, I've got to place this order. And it's like, you know, the clock's ticking, right? And you're looking at this like 2 o'clock, shit, I got to do this before 5 o'clock today. And then, you know, my partner walks in the office and it's like, have you done that yet? I'm like, no, I'll do it like 4 o'clock. Like right at 4 o'clock. And I remember this one time, it's like all day long stressing about it. And the guy walks in my office and he's like, hey, listen, I need to talk to you. And it's like, oh, really? Sure. Have a seat, sit down, right? And it's like, you know, I'm sorry, it's just like, it's not working out here and I want to pursue something else. Oh my God, I can't, you know, it's like, we're so, wow, you know, we're really sorry to hear that, funny. You know, you want to pursue. It's like, that's happened to me once. It's the exact same thing, except I was on, you know, slightly the opposite.
So you get like, I don't even know, like, I guess you get fired, right? You get fired from this job. And what happens next? What goes through your mind?
Next was, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to Udemy and buy a course for $10 and make something out of it.
There you go.
So I bought a course, like there was like a email marketing course, like, and he was like, just reach out to restaurants. And this is like right before COVID. And I was like, all right, I'll reach out to restaurants. So I started reaching out to restaurants. So I like scraped like a tool and stuff, like got emails and like I was reaching out to restaurants. I was like, hey, you know, I do email marketing and stuff like that for restaurants. Do you want to chat? And one big restaurant owner reached out to me like randomly. And I was like, really? I didn't know what to pitch him. So I was like, hey, like, yeah, Joe, like, thanks for reaching out to me. Glad we connected. We do a lot of email marketing to help fill out tables. Is that something you want to chat about? And he was like, yeah, let's chat about that. And then we did like a Zoom call, but wasn't really like a good fit. His budget wasn't like that big. It was big, but I just didn't want to do it at that point, you know?
Right.
So it was kind of, I was like, okay, fine. You know what? Let's see something else. So I found this course on real estate marketing. And I just bought it. I like had no choice. I was like, you know what? Just buy it. Whatever. Put it on credit card. If it doesn't work, I'll return the course. Of course. So I bought the course. It was like $1,500 or something like that. And I bought it, and I was like, all right, this is fine. I guess let's test it out. So I like reached out to I used to go on LinkedIn every single day, add all real estate agents, and be like, hey, I can share like top 5 ads of mine. If you're interested, like, let me know. This helps like a lot of real estate agents generate like a lot of leads. And I used to like,
just to clear that segue. So basically you had the restaurant business that you were working on. Next thing you know, you're starting to get some traction and COVID hits.
Yeah.
So what made that switch to real estate, right? Because I mean, that's a big jump.
Yeah. So it was right before COVID hit, like started hitting, that I switched to real estate. And I didn't realize that everything's going to get shut down. And that's when I like started going into real estate. Like it just happened. Like I didn't choose it, or like it's just like I didn't want to do restaurants anymore, because I saw on YouTube like restaurants really don't have money, and I was thinking about it. I was like, yeah, restaurants really don't have money, so let's go to real estate, or like whatever I can find. Basically, I was like, you know, whatever I can find, whoever can teach me something, I'll go learn. So that's how I got into like the real estate marketing side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that makes sense. So it was kind of like you fell into it, right?
Exactly.
It was like I guess that'll work. I'll do that one, right? I mean, what were some of the things that you looked at and said, that makes me want to go the real estate marketing route versus your other options? Because everybody else, I mean, well, not everybody else, but a lot of people look at chiros. They're like, I'm going to do that. Dentist, I'm going to do that. You know, whatever kind of weird niche or different niche or mainstream niche, like they see something that they want to do and they go for it, right? But what made you choose real estate?
So that's a good question. I just chose it to be.
It's so funny
because I was like, my back was against the wall, and I had to make some changes really fast. And
right,
like this shit's gonna make me money, so let's just do it. Like somebody's done it already, let's just go with it. Like I'm not gonna think about it too much, and let's just stick with it. And I just chose it. It wasn't
I mean, like if you look at the webinar and whatnot, like one of the reasons we talk about like real estate being so great is like, number one, like you have no gatekeepers with real estate typically, right? You have no gatekeepers. Like their number is right there. Their email is right there. Number two, there's constantly more real estate agents, right? And the bigger ones are getting bigger and more marketing budget. I mean, there's just so many different things. So, I mean, I feel like it's a really good fit. And I mean, what was like your first 30, 60 days? Did you buy the course right at the beginning of deciding to do real estate? Okay.
No, I bought another course, which was not from you guys. I didn't even know you guys existed, to be honest.
Right. Our bad.
It's funny though. So I bought this other course because it was like being marketed a lot. I bought it, and I was like, they taught me some ways to pitch it. It was not a bad course, but it wasn't like the best one either. Mm-hmm. So I just like went in, started doing it, and then I used to just go on LinkedIn and find clients, to be honest with you.
Right.
And I got my first client using LinkedIn. Like randomly, I was like, oh God, it's been like 25 days. I haven't got a client yet. What am I gonna do? Like, you know, like nobody wants to talk to me. And every day I used to go in and pitch like 60. I used to add like 80 people, 90 people every single day. So, or 70.
Are you using 75. A tool or doing it by hand?
By manually. I didn't even know a tool existed, to be honest with you. I just like personally write invites and stuff like that, and we just go in. And then one client, she jumped on a call with me. She's like, "Oh, I want to learn more." I was like, "Okay, let's schedule a call." And I did a 1-call close on her. I was like, "Oh, it's gonna cost you like $2,000 for 3 months upfront payment. Can you do it?" And she was like, "Yeah, all right, let's do it right now." And she gave me like a credit card number. I like didn't have a Stripe.
And you were like, "I don't know where to put this."
I like took it down on a paper and like I just like wrote it down. That's how like that, and then it wouldn't go through like on Stripe. Like when you have a new account, you know how they like block it initially.
Yeah.
And that was happening. She, her like I think her bank was like stopping it. It was like, hey, like I think your bank's like having some issues right now. Can you like find out what's going on? And like she called and like she figured it out, and then it went through, and it was like, oh shit, okay.
Now you have your first client.
Yeah, it
That's
was
awesome.
interesting.
That is
And
awesome.
the one after that was even funnier. So like, so I started this one. We started running ads. I got like 50 leads in 1 week. Didn't really know if it was working or not. I mean, they were responding, so it was fine. And then the next client I got through Instagram. Like I would just go on Instagram and DM people.
Okay.
And she responded to me and she was like, let's jump on a call. Like, and she was like very hesitant. So I had to like, she was like, oh, I don't want to do this. I'm not really sure. I was like, oh, look at these results. You know, she's another lady out of Florida. She's getting results. I'm sure you'll get the same results, right? I mean, what are you like? What are you trying to do? Are you looking to close two to three deals every 90 to 120 days? And she's like, yeah. So yeah, this is what we can do. And she was like, okay, all right, let's do it. So that's
awesome.
what,
And that was
like
from Instagram DMs.
Instagram DMs.
So the first one comes from LinkedIn. The second one comes from Instagram DMs, which is crazy because I think there's a lot of people out there that are like, man, how do I reach out to people? How do I find it? And you were just like, well, there's this, there's this, there's this, there's this. I'm going to start here and work my way down.
Yeah. Exactly.
Oh, man, that's awesome. And again, if you guys are watching live, hashtag live in the comments down below. If you're watching the replay, hashtag replay in the comments down below. And if you're watching on YouTube, join the Facebook group so that you can be a part of the conversation while we are live every Thursday at 8 p.m.
What did I miss?
Welcome back. He was telling us how he got into the real estate space. So
sorry about that. I ended up getting a really important phone call. I just had to grab it.
No problem.
Yeah.
No worries.
You know, when clients call, right? You gotta jump on.
Yeah.
So, that was client number one. Client number two. Was it after that you jumped in the program, or like when did you get into the program, and what made you jump in there? Because you were already acquiring clients.
Like after client number 3, I started.
Okay.
So I got this guy through Facebook ads. Like this is like the third lead out of Facebook ad, right?
Right.
And he jumped on a call with me, and this guy's like, oh, like my dad's like, my dad's having issues. I don't really know if I can pay for this. And I was like, dude, like to be honest with you, don't pay for it, you know. But here's what I'm gonna ask you: what's gonna change in 60 days from now if you don't do this? And he's like, oh shit, nothing. And I was like, okay, yeah, let's do it. It was like the funniest. But like I gave him results. Like all of them got results. Like 2 of those clients are still with me till date.
Right.
It's been like over 6 months now. Like both of them, like they're like, Yash, I love you.
Yeah, I mean that's, you know, when you tell somebody that, like sometimes it can seem, you know, I don't know, shady or something like that if you're not familiar. But like if you understand like what we're promoting, what we're pushing, what we're trying to do, like that's not in the least bit, right? Like we're trying to help people grow their businesses. If I can't help you grow your business, I don't want your business, right?
Exactly.
Like I don't want you to pay me money so that I can do something that's not going to get you any results for the next 30, 60, 90 days, 100, or not even 30, 60, 90. Like if I can't get you results, right? Because like some people, like they want to do a plan and it's going to take 4 to 6 months before they see the result, right?
Yeah.
But the goal is you're going to make way more than you ever spent, right? And we're going to have a long-term relationship. And I know that's your goal as well, is like you're trying to get people real results. You're trying to take a real estate agent who's closing 2 to 3 deals a month, or even, you know, sometimes 2 to 3 deals a year, and turn that into 4 to 5 deals a month or better.
Yeah. Even if they're at 0, like I love clients that are at 0, to be honest with you.
Really?
Like they are so fucking grateful. Like
Yeah.
when I get them leads and they like talk to these people, they're like, man, Yash, you changed my life. Like I'm like, and these old folks like who have 15, 20, 30 years of experience, these shit shows, like they're like, oh, like, you know what, like, oh, this lead sucks, this lead sucks. I'm like, John here had just started crushing it, got 1 deal already in the pipeline, and you're telling me these leads don't work. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm like, it's not the leads. It's definitely you. Like I've given you the follow-up training. I'm giving you the leads that have like, they've answered like 4 or 5 questions. I'm like giving you a lead that is like decently qualified, better than Zillow. And you're telling me you can't close it. Like it, you shouldn't be not, it's not me. The lead, any lead generation or marketing company is not going to help you because you cannot close a deal basically.
You can't close.
It's
You
not,
can't close a lead, right? Because that's
yeah,
the thing is a lot of
exactly.
agents know how to close a deal, right? But they don't know how to get a deal out of a lead if they've never worked leads.
Yeah.
You know, so client number 3 comes through. Again, like you have 3 clients, like you're making progress. This is all in a matter of what, 30 days?
Yeah, around 30 days, 35.
Yeah, 30 days in, you've got 3 clients, and then you jump in the program. Like, explain to me how that works. Because like a lot of people jump in, they're like, I don't know how to get clients. You're like, I know how to get clients. And I'm like, well, Yash, that's the toughest part. Like, why are you jumping in the program?
Yeah. So I saw Johnny on one of the other courses. Like he was like posting like, oh, 30K months. I'm like, dude, what the hell? If this guy comes in posting 30K months, and I'm like, what am I doing? Like maybe he's doing something different. Let's connect with him. And I started talking to him, and he was like, yeah, like this course is amazing. Like test it out, see what it is. You know, he gave me I think link to your course. Shout out to Johnny. He's amazing. He helped me through the process a lot. And then I jumped in the course. I was like debating for like 2 days, and I was like, you know what? Let me get a new credit card. Sign up. Like maybe I'll get like at least $5,000 on a new credit card. So I was like, all right, let's just go. I got signed up a new credit card, and I just jumped in. To be honest with you, and I was like, you know what? Like, and I just, as soon as I jumped in, and I was like, holy shit! Like this is like a different level altogether. Like this is like different level of marketing. Like I've never seen this before. You know, to be honest, I bought like multiple courses in the past from amateurs, but like somebody who's like done it, still doing it, and crushing it. It's like I think you guys have done a good job with that. And even for like $1,000, like that's like a steal, to be honest with you. Like $1,000, like dude, like so much content. Like somebody's giving you a follow-up training that you can give to your agents, plus the scripts, plus the ads, plus like all this like messenger bot and all of this shit. Like I'm like, god damn, this is like a lot of stuff. Like yeah, it's a steal.
Well, you know, we try to over deliver, right? And it's what we, I mean, it's what we tell, you know, everybody too, right? You want to over deliver to your customers. I mean, it's, you know, like when you just said that, right? Like, it's like when I work with some customers, like, oh my God, you saved my life, or, oh my God, I can't believe I'm getting leads. I've never been able to do that. And it's the same thing that we want to do as well for the Academy. When people join, it's like, holy crap. It's like, this is really, you know, this is, you know, I don't know if it's next level. Maybe I always like talk like, you know, it's the same stuff we've been doing over and over again, right? Like and to me, it's like, you should have already been doing this in the first place, even before, right? There's just a lot of content.
Yeah, you want to understand how
situations.
You want to understand how all this works and not have to like pay to get into the course, then just go find, you know, old real estate books from the 90s that teach you how to deal with postcards and adapt it. It's really not that
digitize
different.
Your postcards.
It's really not that different.
Yeah, it's funny.
You know, so you joined there. You liked it. What happens over the next 60, 90 days from there?
Yeah. So after that, I got a VA on board. So I joined another program, and then I met a few.
So you joined another program. So you were like, I'm going to get this program. I'm going to get this program. I like it. I love it. Because like you're investing in people who have been there and done that. And you're trying to get that knowledge and those shortcuts, it seems like.
Yeah. Like I was like in negative for some time, but I was like, you know what? Let's say
all in the negative for some time at some point.
Like, what is the worst case? You know, like what is the worst case? Like I go back to a sales job, maybe crush it a month and pay off my credit card bills. Like literally, I know how to sell. I can sell it. Like it's not like really too difficult to sell somebody, you know, like I can sell products. It's not a big problem. Like learn software, sell like a couple of 30, 40K deals and make that commission check and pay off the debt, you know?
Yeah.
So I would have done that worst case scenario, but my goal was not to do that again, you know, because my problem was not making the money at software companies. My problem was the people that I was working with, and like the stress that they put on people. It's that was my whole problem with those companies. Like they put a lot of pressure on like salespeople. Like it's on a different level. I'm sure like other industries are worse, but like based on my experience of it, where I am in software space, they definitely like put a lot of pressure on a lot of salespeople for sure.
Yeah.
Well, you have the bread and
We
butter,
have some
right?
questions coming in.
Yeah.
Really important one. Aaron Martinez, what's going on, Aaron? Says, "What you sipping on, Matt?"
Because that's
Aaron,
really important.
it's a Rittenhouse whiskey bourbon, and what is it? I don't know. It's whiskey or bourbon. Anyways, it's called Rittenhouse, and it's delicious. But speaking of questions, if you guys have questions, please put those in the comments down below. Whiskey Thursday is working on a new format where we will actually have shorter, tighter episodes where we're going to basically try and take all of that action, all of the same things that you guys love out of Whiskey Thursday, and punch those into a shorter time frame so that they are more digestible. Because I know there's a lot of people who love the show who can't get on live, and we want to make sure the next day or the day after, whatever, when you're listening on your device on YouTube or podcast or whatever we're doing at the moment, that you're able to do that in a reasonable amount of time. So anyways,
Matt just doesn't want to hang out here for 3 hours anymore.
I know, right? We're gonna be the next Joe Rogan at that rate.
I think one of the things we should probably dive in is that we've got a professional sales guy here.
Well,
and I think that if anybody that's watching wants to understand a little bit, I mean, you've done really well here. You've 6 months into it, $15,000 a month. Have you guys gone over the model yet? Because you're selling $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, and $6,000 packages, right? Like that's your model. So you're essentially pre-selling a 3-month, 6-month, and a 12-month package is what you're doing. And of course that's going to help with the retention rates. There's a lot of benefits to that, right? Like, I mean, one of the big, I think one of the big challenges that with the retainer model and real estate agents is
look at Yash sipping that straight vodka, man.
I
Just
know, right?
Crushing it
for you, Yash.
It's water.
Yeah, he had to clarify.
You're supposed to. It's Whiskey Thursday. You're allowed to lie.
I have a tequila bottle but I don't know if there's any tequila in that. You know how the good looking ones, like the ones that had, I had that one.
No, sorry, I just saw that. Couldn't let it go.
But I think one of the big challenges with the retainer model is sort of this. Again, everything is mindset, right, and perception, and all that kind of stuff, right? So as a real estate agent, pays the bill, $1,500, $2,000, $2,500 for the first month. Second month comes along, you've generated a bunch of leads, but they're not getting deals, right? It's like, I've got a bill coming up. Okay, I'm gonna pay that one. Hopefully, I'm gonna keep my fingers crossed. I'm gonna get another deal, right? Mm-hmm. Third month comes along, and then that bill comes, right? Like that's in their mind. I'm telling you, like we think about it of all the bills we have to pay with all the stuff that we're doing. We're caught, like end of the month comes, like holy shit, okay, we got another 10 grand going out, next month. Like real estate agents are thinking about it, right? And I think this is the idea of doing these prepaid long-term. They're not necessarily contracts, but you're essentially selling the marketing package all up front. They're paying for everything up front. So now you don't have to deal with the financial side anymore, right?
Yeah.
And so they don't have to think about that. That stress is gone now, right? Now they can just focus on closing their deals and working their leads, right? And they can do that for 3 months, 6 months, whatever it is. And that seems to be a model that a lot of people are starting to work with. I mean, I know that a few other guys are doing this right now. Seems like this has worked well for you. What's sort of your experience with, in terms of like retention and just, how agents are feeling as they're going through, the first 3 months or the first 6 months of, paying up front?
Yeah. So here's what I've seen, right? Like I sell closings. I guarantee close. I'm like, dude, if you can't close in the next 6 months or next 3 months, whatever, I can guarantee, like, I'll give you your money back, right? But
Let's talk about that first, though, right? I'm assuming you're doing performance-based guarantees.
yes,
I'm assuming.
yeah.
It's
So
like,
basically,
hey, listen, I'll send you $6,000.
yeah,
You know, I just won't make the phone calls,
yeah.
right? So how do you
Yeah,
control that?
yeah. So it's in the writing. It was like, hey, like, so I'll do my part. I'll give you the leads. I'll give you the follow-up training. I'll give you the follow-up system. That being said, you need to call the leads at least 3 times, and you need to show me that you do it. And if you do it, then I promise you, you're not gonna get just one closing. You're gonna get 5 in the next 6 months. But you got to do it. If you don't do it, no retainer for you, no refund for you. So I make it like really hard for them. I don't do any payment plans. I do all upfront payment because for me, the reason why I adopted this model is, as you mentioned, is cash flow. So let's say a newer agency comes through, they're doing monthly, per month. Next thing you know, so here's what I've seen, right? Other industries like chiropractors, all of this stuff, you can show the results immediately, right? Like let's say you can show them in like the next 1 month. Oh, you spend 2,000, you got 20 grand, right? But in real estate, that doesn't work like that. That's like the number one problem, as you mentioned.
Yeah, there's no instant gratification.
Exactly. So what I focus on, I was like, let me figure out a way where I can keep the clients for longer, because that's going to be a lifetime value for me. Let's say I can get them a closing, they're going to refer 10 more clients to me, right? Second problem that I needed to solve is cash flow. I don't need to think about how I'm going to run my business now. I want to be able to run my business 3 months from now. So how am I going to do that? If I can take the money right now, use that money towards advertising, email marketing, whatever that looks like, get that money up front, I can spend more money compared to anybody else on the market, and I can get more customers compared to anybody else on the market.
Well, yeah, I think Russell Brunson refers to that, right? He talks about the guy who can pay the most for a client wins every day of the week.
I didn't even know that, but I just did it intentionally because I was like, that's the trend I was seeing in the market. And I was like, I tell my clients, like, within the first week, you'll have 2 pre-approved buyers. And I get that for them. Like I have like a strategy in place that I use to like get that, but like it works. Like most of the time it works if you do your ads correctly. Like, and if you like don't like put like shitty ads in front of people and have some sort of a barrier of entry, you can get like 2 pre-approved buyers in the first week. So I'm like, and today I had a call with a lady out of Minnesota. She's like, we started 3 weeks ago. I already have a $21,000 commission pending. And
how do you feel about that?
I was like, damn, woman, I wish everybody could do that.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Hey, listen, Yash, I want to get into the sales side of things here because I think that, you're a professional salesperson, right? Sales guy. You've got some background, some experience in that. I'm assuming that's helped you with building up your agency here a little bit, right?
Yeah.
And I think this is an area where, a lot of us get into sort of the, building up an agency and building a company. Maybe our backgrounds are tech and technology, like just technology in general, and just, maybe marketing as well, or, whatever it is. And we have no sales experience, right? For anybody that's watching that wants, I'd be really curious to know, like, what are some of the biggest objections that people are getting? And I'd really like to, ask you, Yash, how you're handling some of those objections.
Yeah.
Are you cool with that? Or can we have some objections behind you? Or by you?
Yeah, sure.
We're running behind you. We're not going to tell you what they are. You just
that's fine. That's all.
Whiskey Thursday. Cheers.
Yeah. So guys, if you're watching, drop some of your objections that you've gotten, even some obscure ones that you've gotten. Definitely like to go through some of those. Matt's really good at them. And we've got a professional sales guy here on Whiskey Thursday tonight. We'd definitely like to add a little bit of value. One of the big ones that, I get. Before we get into that, Matt's got something to say.
Before we get into that, while we're waiting for these objections to come in, Yash, you had mentioned on our call when you called in, as well as when you gave us the information for putting up the post. Like, one of the biggest struggles that you had was like that you didn't necessarily have your wife's support going into this. How do you deal with that as somebody who's, getting into entrepreneurship, right? You're
I just
getting
don't listen
into
to her.
building a business. What'd you say?
I just don't listen to her. So here's the thing. Like, I don't blame her, to be honest with you.
Right.
Because she doesn't come from a family which is like entrepreneurs. She comes from a family. She comes from a family that like did a job and like they just know that, right? And I come from a family that my mom owns like seven businesses, and my dad owns a business, and my brother owns a business, right? So I come from a different background. So I've seen what she hasn't seen. So when she says that I don't really know if it's gonna work, how are we gonna pay the bills, blah 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 blah, I'm like, okay, that's fine. I understand where you're coming from. Just wait for it. Like if nothing happens, I can always go back to a job, and I'll go back to a job. If there's a time, or if you're in a position where we can't pay the bills, I go back to a job. Like, it's not really that hard to get a job. I mean, it's a sales job. Like, you can get a job, so.
Yeah, especially in sales.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what, like, let me try this for 6 months. I have money in the bank, so you don't have to worry about that. And if it doesn't work, we'll go back, so she still didn't buy it, and now she buys it, like, because now I have like people that I surround myself with. Now she sees like what I do, like the numbers I crack and stuff like that. Like, now I have a big pipeline, all of that stuff. But initially, I mean, it's not
proud of what you built now.
She like told me yesterday. I think she's sitting right here. Like, she's like, "Oh, I'm proud of you, babe." So it was a good feeling.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's
so
really
it was good.
cool.
I mean, it's not. I feel where she's coming from. You just have to respect it, and then you have to be in a position not to put her in a bad position financially, because you're in this together. To be honest with you, right? So I had a plan. I was like, if this doesn't work, I'll just go back to a job, to be honest with you. I had money saved in the bank to a certain point. So I was like, I have 6-7 months. I'm good with it. So that's how I dealt with it, to be honest. Like, I mean, everybody, I'm sure there are people that like have wives or family members that are like, don't really trust it, but that doesn't mean like you just lose belief in yourself. Like, talk to them, be like, let me try this for 6 months. If it doesn't work, I'll go back. But in those 6 months, you better work your ass off. So, like, you can't be like, oh, I'm gonna go out with friends, like party on the weekends and all that shit. Like, you better be.
I'm curious because I've never been in this situation, right? Because like my entire life has revolved around owning a business. But I'm kind of curious to know, with Matt leaving your cushy little marketing job over at KW. To go out and hey, you know what? I'm gonna do marketing. So
right?
What did Alexa think?
I mean, honestly, I didn't have it too rough because I came from doing stand-up comedy when we first got married. So she's like, "Well, you can make weird.
You can't do any worse than what you've already done, Matt. So it's all good."
Like we had also at that point in time narrowed our bills so low that we could take the risk. And then I'd been a real estate agent before, so that was also a if something doesn't happen, I go back to sales, being a real estate agent. So but I mean, I didn't look at it like that. I looked at it like, it doesn't matter, we're just gonna make it work. Babe, don't worry about it. Go pick out a dress or something. We're gonna make it work.
Dane, weren't you in a worse position like when you started? Didn't you have like 3 mortgages and stuff like that?
I was in a horrible position.
Yeah.
It was like, the funny thing is, it wasn't actually the most stressful time of my life, but it was a pretty, like 3 mortgages, a baby on the way. So my current wife was pregnant, and it was bad. I was getting sued, right? Like I was going through this lawsuit. My credit cards were maxed out. My line of credit was maxed out. It was bad. It was really, really bad. But like it wasn't. I go back to this one time in my life. I was 24 years old where I lost my first company, that was the worst that I've ever experienced, and I survived it. And I always go back to that moment in life where it's like, what's the worst that's going to happen? Like,
Yeah.
I'm not going to die. I
Yeah.
still have my health, right? I didn't do anything illegal, so it's like I'm not going to jail or anything. I still have my freedom. I can still work, you know. I've got a bunch of stuff I can sell, and that's what I ended up doing. I ended up we started selling things, right, and just trying to make the money back, and then got into this craziness of marketing. But yeah, it's but see, I'm used to it, right? That's why I don't really like,
Yeah.
even you know, with Rochelle, it's, you know, I like when we first met, I warned her. It's like, this is my life. This ups and downs are normal. Like, this is what we
Yeah.
go through, you know. And sometimes things are really great, and then sometimes things are just not fun,
Yeah.
Yeah.
so, but like I'm used to it. I've been doing this since I was, you know, 21. So it's not, it's like,
That's
the
crazy.
ups and downs
And
are
with-
normal.
And with that, let's get into the real objections that clients had, not just the ones our family had when we decided to be entrepreneurs. So Gio says, need to speak to a reference.
Yeah. So great one. Gio, great question. This is how I tackle it. Let's say you speak to a reference. By the way, how many references do you need?
Ooh, I like that. Throw it back at him. How many do you need?
So like, oh, I need, say, let's just do it. Like you do your 3. Okay, great. Let's say I give you 3 references.
Mhm.
Let's say you talk to them today, latest by tomorrow. Will you be able to sign by end of day tomorrow?
I suppose if they say everything is above board, yeah.
Okay. So let's say I send you the agreement, send you the references, send you the contract, and you talk to them tomorrow. You like what they say, and you're ready to move forward with upfront payment.
Yep, makes sense.
You sure?
Well, I mean, as long as everything they say is, you know, positive, like, I guess this is a tough one, right? Because sometimes people are
Yeah.
okay if they talk with it, and some people they're not.
Yeah.
So let's say they are or they're not. Which one do you want to tackle first?
Let's do both, right?
Okay, so first of all, yeah, no, if all 3 check out, I'm on board to jump on. I just want to make sure this is legit. You know, I don't see your website blowing up, or I've never heard of you before, so.
Sure. Okay. So then let's do the other one, right? So let's say they're like, oh, like, yeah, basically they're like brushing you off. They're like, yeah.
Oh, and also, Gio, when somebody says I need to speak to reference, are you also saying in this situation you don't have references? Let us know, because that would obviously be different.
That would be different.
Right. But yeah, so well, I mean, if I speak to those 3 people, I don't know if I'll be ready. But I'd like to speak.
So okay, so it's not a question of references. There's something else that you want to uncover or you're uncomfortable with. Let's talk about that first, then let's move on to the references. How does that sound?
That sounds good. Isolate. I love it.
Yeah, that's how I deal with it most of the time. And then usually.
So, and this is a good question. It comes up a lot, especially with new marketers, right? And new agency owners. What happens in the situation where you don't have references?
So great question. There's a reason why you did trials for people. There's a reason why you did 3 trials that Shane told you. If you missed that step, go back to it, do the trials, tell those clients, hey, I will do marketing for you anytime. But if somebody calls you asking for me, you need to talk to them and give a good word. Will you do that? Yes. And that's how I have all 3 references ready to go anytime.
Love it. I love it.
Great. Awesome. And I think just one more thing on that, Matt. And I know we're running out of time here, but I think another thing too is a lot of, you know, we also need to remember that we've got to be honest about where we're at in our journey and where we're at in our business and so on, right? And if we're coming at clients and we're like, we've never done this, I'm brand new, I've never done marketing for real estate agents, I don't even know what GCI is or commission splits or, you know, what a brokerage is or what, like all these things, right? And you're coming at them saying, okay, we can do lead generating, follow-ups, all this stuff, we'll close deals for you, and you're going to get 5-6 deals in the next 6 months, all that stuff, price $3,500 a month, you know? And then they come back. I was like, okay, great. I'm happy to pay 35. I just want to talk to a couple of your references. Well, like, So, instead of going at it like that, go at it where you're at in your business, right? If you're just starting out, and then, go and find customers that are willing to work with people that are just starting out, right? Which means that typically you're going to have to give up a little bit to get the experience.
Yeah.
So as
And
opposed
that
to
goes back to what he just said, right? Is go get those 3 clients.
yeah, go get those first 3 trials. Go, or instead of charging $3,500 a month, charge $500 or $250.
Just, they don't have to be free, but
yeah, the value in that experience and the value in getting those trial clients that become references for you in the future will outweigh the lack of revenue coming in from those clients.
Yeah, and you dive into that really well in the course, so I won't push it anymore. But it just, that's important.
Yeah, be honest. To be honest with you up front, like be like, hey, I don't really have any experience. I work with like top marketers that I'm learning from, but right now I'm gonna do it for a lesser price. Or if you're interested, let me know. If not, that's cool. I mean, I understand where you're coming from, and I know that you won't really trust somebody new. That being said, happy to work with you and see the results we can deliver. Just say that.
Yeah, and I think that the whole goal here, especially if you have it. So Joe says here he's got references. And I guess the whole goal here is really to get the commitment, right? So if I send you those references, are you ready to move?
Yeah,
right?
and
I can get somebody on the phone today if you like. Like we've got really, really good clients that are willing to get on the phone right away. Are you willing to make a move at the end of the day?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know. Like I just got to think about it. So, well, listen, like my clients are really busy here. Like it's like, if you're not ready to make a move, like let's talk about, the reasons why you're not.
Yeah.
Start digging into that.
Well, like Yash says, you have to isolate that objection if that's not the real objection.
Exactly.
People throw up a lot of smoke to hide the real objection.
Exactly. Like I've gotten that a couple of times, but I've never really gotten it because like I build trust upfront with my clients. I tell them like, you don't need to sign with me. Do your due diligence before you work with me. I don't. The last thing I want is mad customers, and that like changes the perspective. Like immediately, like everybody's like pushing. Let's get the deal now. Let's get the deal now. Like I just like, dude, don't sign with me right now. Like literally don't. Like, I don't want your business right now. I have like a ton of clients that are paying me a lot of money, and like do your due diligence, talk to other marketing companies, and then come back to me. Like maybe you don't even need a marketing company, right? We don't even know that. Maybe you're not in a position for that, right? But do your due diligence. And then if you're really serious to take your business to the next level, then come to me. And yeah, just like really like most of the times when I talk to people, the biggest challenge, the biggest problem that I've seen is that they tell me that a lot of marketing companies just are very pushy. That's like the number one thing that they push for. It has its place, but you need to like you should know when to use it.
Yeah, hard close is not always the best close.
Yeah, and I think you made a good point here, and I see Joe again. He's got another objection that he just threw up. You mentioned like when some of these objections start coming up, a lot of times because you haven't built enough trust, right? And when we say enough trust, this goes into like this is in addition to building enough value around your proposal or around your services, or demonstrating the value and justifying the cost based on the value, or justifying the cost based on ROI and so on, right? So Gio mentions, this objection like, oh, this is too expensive. Yeah. And it's funny because like this is one objection that I rarely get, which is the too expensive objection. Yeah. That's because, one of the things I love doing is cover all the objections before they ever come up. It's like, oh, when I'm on call with somebody, I start name dropping like crazy, like all the clients I've talked to, everybody. Like even in some of my proposals, I've got pictures of people. It's like, you want to ask, nobody ever asks me for a reference. It's like, holy shit, you've worked with, some of the top brokerages in the country. It's like, why are they going to ask for a reference? So they don't talk about that. We've got the ROI calculator. Nobody ever asks about the cost. and why it's too expensive, because I just showed you how you can make 1,500% ROI on your investment.
Yeah.
So nobody's ever going to say, most of the time, everybody's really excited at the end of it, right? So, oh my God, I never realized how much money I could actually make if I were to invest in my marketing, right? And I think, I think if you cover the objections before they ever come up, and think about those, right? I mean, another big objection that comes up all the time is I got to talk to my partner, right? Why are you getting on calls and doing presentations without their partners there? It's like, right? So that's one question you need to ask on your qualifying calls, right?
Yeah.
Like anybody else that needs to be on this call, that makes it, like, who else is the decision maker? Do you have a partner? Does your wife need to be on this call, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's make sure all those people on that call, guess what? That objection doesn't come up anymore if both of them on the call, right? So try to address the objections before they actually come up.
Yeah, that's a good point.
We've got 2 more for Yash. So one says, wow, that's, that seems like a lot of money. I think it's a little too expensive.
Yeah. So before we get into the price, do you see yourself using this product? Do you see yourself?
If I can close more deals, yeah.
Yeah. Do you keep the price aside. Do you think you can see yourself using the solution?
Yeah. I mean, if I'm getting the kind of numbers that you're talking about, I could definitely see that working.
Okay. So then talk to me about it. So is price the only concern for you?
Right now, I mean, that's it. Because it's a lot out of my pocket, right? To wait and see the results.
Got it. So if it was $0, would you use it?
Heck yeah.
Okay. So you have a deal between 0 and the price point, whatever your price point is.
Yep.
Yes. Let's do it. Whatever that number is, let's do it.
Oh, wow. Okay. So you're willing to work with somebody to get them on board.
Yeah. For every prospect that jumps on a call with me that does a Zoom call, I see $signs. I don't let them go unless they want to, unless they're really uncomfortable on the call. But I will close somebody. For me, revenue is everything.
What's
new business, I think.
What's the lowest you're going to let me say if I say, because your pitch, what are your package costs again?
So 3K, 4K, 2 to 3K, 4K, and 6K.
Okay. And your 2 to 3K, how long is that for?
3 months.
3 months. Okay.
Yeah. But no ISA stuff.
Your lowest one, $3,000 or $2,000. Does that include ad spend?
No.
Okay. So lowest one, $2,000 for 3 months.
Yeah.
So I'm paying you, I don't know. What is that? Like $650, $666 a month, something like that. Yeah. So I'm paying you that much money per month, basically for 3 months.
Yeah.
All you're doing is running the ads and setting up the integrations. And so I come back to you and say, look, $2,000 for 3 months, that's almost $700 a month. Yeah, I could probably do $500 a month, $1,500.
Yeah.
You're going to make it happen.
Yeah. Why is that? Why 1,500? How did you come with that number?
Well, I mean, basically it's what I can afford from my bank account currently.
Okay. Do you have any access to any credit cards that you can leverage?
I mean, we do, but we don't like to use credit.
Here's the thing, man, Matt. So I possibly
could you do a monthly?
No, I can't. With the pricing that we have, we cannot do monthly, right? With what you're asking for, let's say I do it for you, I'll do a disservice to other clients that I'm working with that are closing 2 to 3 deals every 90 days. So if you want to close 2 to 3 deals every 90 days, and you see this product being useful, which you told me, which it is, then why is price an issue? If you're going to make 20x ROI on your investment, or whatever that number looks like, why is price an issue for you?
Well, it's just cash from out of pocket at the moment.
Okay. So let's do 1,500 now, 500 next month. Is that okay?
I like that.
Can we do 1,000 now and 1,000 next month?
No. Why don't we do 1,000 now, 1,000 in 15 days?
Okay. I like it.
Yeah, basically I push them till they're like, oh, I can't do it.
But I really like this because what you're doing is you're trying to find a happy medium between what the client can accept and afford in their mind,
Yeah.
and what you're willing to accept, but you're being flexible. Right. And a lot of us aren't flexible on our pricing. And so we tend to lose a lot of deals because of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You know, you're just thinking about like, I want to close a client, because if I can close like if I can bring a client into, like, and we always say this, bring clients into your ecosystem.
Yeah.
Prove to them that you can do the work. Prove to them that you can get them results, whatever that is, right? Because it's much, much easier to upgrade an existing client than it is to go out and find a new client. Way, way easier. Yash, listen, we thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, no worries.
You know, really appreciate it. Everybody that's watching, thank you so much for tuning in to Whiskey Thursday. It's been a blast, Yash. We'll have to, you know, check back in with you in 6 months from now. I think you're going to be,
or sooner at this rate.
maybe sooner.
I might, hopefully, my goal is to get to 50K per month by December in like new business. Like if I can get to 50K per month,
By the end of December?
yeah, by end of December, like per month, like on like if I can hit 50K in December, like just that month in new business. Like,
But you have the link. I sent it to you for booking Whiskey Thursday. Book something in January. I mean, I'd love to talk to you then, regardless
like
of
the
where
pressure's on. Let's do
I'd
it.
love to talk to you then, regardless, right? Because we're either going to have challenges that have come up and like things that you're working through, or we're going to have success story. And either way, I think everybody's going to get a lot of value out of it. So you guys, if you want that to happen, let us know down in the comments below. Also, if you made it this long, hashtag Super Trooper in the comments down below. Like we said, we are doing shorter episodes, tighter episodes, putting it all together for you. And we hope that you're enjoying it. Again, if you're watching on Facebook, hashtag live in the comments, hashtag replay if you're watching the replay. And if you're watching on YouTube, get over here in the Facebook group. It's facebook.com/groups/REMCM. And there should be a link down in the comments, or I'm sorry, a link down in the description on YouTube. So with that, Yash, do we appreciate it. Thanks so much for being on.
It was fun.
Thanks a lot, Yash, for being on. Everybody watching, thank you so much for tuning into Whiskey Thursday. We'll be back next week, 8 p.m. sharpish. And who do we got next week?
Eric Preston, who's going to be talking about Google ads.
Woo woo! Yeah,
Nice.
this should be a good one. Should be a good one. Everybody should be tuning into that thing because, you know, we talk a lot about Facebook ads. This is just another channel here that I think a lot of us can start looking at and using. Matt, was a pleasure hanging out with you on Whiskey Thursday again. Yash, stick around for a little bit here. Everybody else that's watching, thank you so much for tuning in. And we will catch you next week, Whiskey Thursday. Take it easy, guys.
Take care.